You love your dog, right? Sure you do. But are you showing your love in the wrong ways? Or even harming your dog? Perhaps. Let's find out.
You're watching Animal Facts. Number 10.
Let's say your dog dashes out the door when you're trying to leave for work. Quite simply, it's aggravating to say the least. But refrain from scolding or reprimanding your dog, especially after you've retrieved it. Scolding your dog after the fact does exactly the opposite of what you want your dog to do. It sends the signal to your dog that recalling is a bad thing. Instead, praise your dog for returning, and then later start working on door manners and recall. I won't go into details here, but you can find plenty of information online how to train your dog not to run out the door and how to get your dog to come back when called. If your dog does escape, remain calm, don't chase the dog. One technique that has been said to work, although I've never had to use it, is to sit down and pretend to be hurt. If you have a bond with your dog, she'll likely come to check on you.
Number 9.
Your dog actually might not hate that you overfeed it, but it's definitely not in your dog's best interest. Dogs are among the world's most proficient beggars with their pleading eyes and sad expressions. I'm guilty of giving in to begging myself. But overfeeding your pet is a real problem that you as your dog's provider should really refrain from. Overfeeding your dog can get out of control, and next thing you know, they are considered obese. This leads to health problems such as diabetes, arthritis, and even liver failure. They start to lose energy, which leads them to be quite unhappy. This doesn't mean you should starve your pets. Just feed them their regular meals and give them something extra once in a while as a special treat. Feed your dog for their optimal weight, not the weight they are. Also, avoid table scraps and feeding the dog under the table. This untrackable calorie intake adds up quite quickly. To avoid the begging, train your dogs to wait away from the table until you're done eating, and then give them a healthy treat for their cooperation.
Number 8.
You've always got to think about the signals you're sending your dog when you reprimand them. For example, when you scold your puppy for having an accident on the floor, most likely you're not telling her not to potty in the house. The message you're sending is, "Don't let me see you pottying." This causes two problems for you. One, your puppy will hide from you to do its business. Secondly, when you take your pooch out to potty, it's going to not want to do the deed in your presence. While potty training, you want to keep an eye on your pooch. You'll quickly learn to spot the signs they are looking for a place to go. When you see those signs, calmly and lovingly escort your puppy where you want it to go, whether it's outside or on a piddle mat. Also schedule regular and frequent trips to the potty. Dogs are actually really good at sticking to schedules. As your dog ages, you can take your dog out fewer times throughout the day. A fun thing is to teach your dog to ring a bell hanging on your doorknob. This gives them another way to communicate their needs. Training is, after all, a way to learn to talk to your dog and for them to respond in kind.
Number 7.
This should go without explanation, but if there's any reason for you to make your dog live outside on a chain, just don't get a dog. If you have one already, just do him or her a favor and find them a loving home. Sorry, not sorry. That's no way to live, basically a prisoner. A living nightmare for a social animal that has been bred for millennia to be a human companion. Without the freedom to roam around, play, and engage in their natural behaviors, dogs kept on chains become bored, lonely, depressed, and oftentimes aggressive. Chaining confines a dog to a small space, and they're not free to explore and engage with other pets or people. Many dog caretakers who keep their dogs chained up often don't realize the emotional and psychological harm it inflicts. And most don't check on their dogs often enough to notice.
Number 6.
Dogs feel. They have emotions, and they understand emotions. Recent scientific studies have shown that dogs experience love like humans and can read human emotions based on facial expressions. Dogs have the capacity to love, feel, become depressed, and get excited. Hitting harms your dog and your relationship with it. Hitting your dog isn't teaching it to correct its behavior. Instead, you're teaching the dog to fear you, to distrust you, and most likely not to listen to you. Dogs are loyal companions, and unlike humans, they don't have a vindictive nature. When dogs upset their owners, it is likely not because he or she is being unruly or naughty. Rather, dogs simply act as nature intended them to. They will not stop engaging in behavior simply because they do not understand our standards and rules. It is up to you to lovingly teach those rules through positive reinforcement training. Dogs that are hit will not trust their owners. Battered dogs will cower upon being pet and be scared of sudden movements, which may induce fear biting. They won't grow to their full potential as a loving, loyal companion because too much energy will be spent living in fear of the person they should trust the most.
Number 5.
Unlike children, timeouts don't work for dogs. If a dog is misbehaving, putting it in a dog kennel is the wrong response. When you use the dog crate as a form of punishment, you are teaching your dog that the kennel is a bad place instead of a safe haven. You want being crated to be a positive experience for your dog, so never use it to scold or punish it.
Number 4.
We humans often hug one another to show affection, although not all people are comfortable with hugs. But your dog most certainly is not comfortable with the hugging and squeezing. Hugs are a tricky subject when it comes to dogs. If it is your dog, then you can probably get away with some hugs, but try not to squeeze too tight and try not to hug for too long. It makes your dog uncomfortable. In the canine world, there's no reason why a dog would put its paws on another dog unless it's trying to show dominance or control. Even if your dog lets you hug it, you probably should be the only one doing it. Don't let strangers or kids hug your dogs because this makes the animal feel threatened and very uncomfortable. A good old belly rub will be more highly appreciated.
Number 3.
Many of us have busy lives, but we fail to realize that our dogs generally do not. Your dog cherishes the walks you take. Your dog loves to sniff. It's part of their nature, and how they discover things about their environment, including how they leave messages for other dogs in the area. Think of your local park or alongside your neighborhood streets as the doggy version of Facebook. When your dog is sniffing around, it's basically scrolling through the post, seeing what other dogs have to say. And when your dog pees, it's more than just, "Hey, I was here." A dog's urine smell can tell other dogs about his health, reproductive status, stress levels, and many other messages that can be detected by other dogs. Just let your dog catch up some. But if you want to pick up the pace for exercise reasons, engage the dog as you move along. Talk to your dog, praise your dog, etc. While we're on the subject of walking your dog, retractable leashes. Lose them, throw them in the trash, burn them, whatever you do, get rid of them. They are dangerous to not only your dog, but to you and your children. In 2007, Consumer Reports analyzed dog leash injuries and found 16,564 people got treated for injuries sustained from pet leashes. It said about 10.5% of those injuries involved children 10 and younger. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission recalled 223,000 retractable leashes under the name Sly Dog because metal clasp connecting the leash to the dog's collar was susceptible to breaking while in use. According to ABC News, in 2009, a 12-year-old girl was walking her dog on a retractable leash when the leash of the Sly Dog brand broke, shooting a piece of metal into her eye, resulting in permanent damage. They may seem convenient, but the potential dangers of these leashes is far too great.
Number 2.
You are your dog's closest companion. It relies on you for everything, including and most importantly, companionship. We humans often get wrapped up in what is going on in our lives and forget that we are the only thing going on in the lives of our dogs. Your dog is a pack animal, and you are his pack. A dog that is ignored too often can become depressed, as it really has no social time it needs. Also, they can become mischievous, as they look for ways to spice up their mundane lives. And with a weakened social bond, your dog will also likely become less than obedient. Take time out for your dog often. Not only is it necessary for the well-being of your dog, but science has proven that spending time with a dog is beneficial for you as well. Put down your phone, look away from the TV, pick up a dog toy and play a game of fetch with your dog, or just sit and pet your dog, while telling her what all is going on in your life. Don't worry, she won't judge. She just likes the sound of your voice.
Number 1.
Have you ever told yourself, I'll be in the store for just a minute? You get to the checkout line, and there's a line that looks endless. Through no fault of your own, you've spent 30 minutes or an hour in what should have been a 3-minute trip. Now imagine you have your dog in the car. It's not hot outside, but kind of warm, and it's a beautiful day. That beautiful day can turn tragic quickly. A parked car in the sun, even temperatures in the 80s, can warm up to over 120 degrees in as little as 15 minutes. This is similar to the dead of summer in the deserts of Saudi Arabia. Since your dog can't sweat and lacks the ability to roll down the windows, it quickly succumbs to the heat. One of the first signs of heat exhaustion in dogs is panic, which exacerbates the situation. By the time you get out to the car, you could have a dog with permanent organ damage or much worse. It should be common sense by now that dogs and parked cars do not mesh. But on average, hundreds of pets die each year from being left in a hot car. And this is absolutely one of the most preventable types of death there is. Don't do it, not even for a minute. What are your thoughts on some of these? Common sense? Let us know in the comments. You got to the end of this video, so you'll likely like these. If you're one of our 70,000 subscribers, a big thank you. If not, what are you waiting for? Thanks for watching, and as always, catch you next time.